Good day everyone. Today I'm discuss about how many environmental laws in the Philippines that protect our environmental and enforce through the environmental crimes and its purposes. So today we discuss about it. And today we discuss about the Republic Act of 903, Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000. So what is this Republic Act of 1903? In partnership with the stakeholders, the law aims to adopt a systematic, comprehensive, and ecological solid waste management program that shall ensure the protection of public health and environmental. The law ensures the proper segregation, collection and storage, treatment and disposal of solid waste through the formulation and adaptation of the best ecological product waste. So I have said, what is RA 903 or the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act? So RA 903 describes Solid Waste Management Act as a discipline associated with the control of generation, storage, collection, and transport processing of disposal solid waste. So that is what made of the RA 903 of Ecological Solid Waste Management Act. So what are the four classification of the waste of as per the RA 903? So according to this article I read, solid waste shall refer to the discharge household, commercial waste, non-hazardous institutional and industrial waste, street sweeping and construction debris and agricultural waste, and other non-hazardous or non-toxic waste. So that is the classification waste that under in the RA 903. So what is the importance of this studying RA 9003? So the purpose of studying the 9003 is to set the guidelines on the proper SWM among the LGUs in the Philippines and to aim to protect the public health to ensure environmental sustainability and economic efficiency. So that means that all the public people or the other community to follow this kind of rule to avoid such waste or mga natawag natin mga basura na nagsastock sa mga nagbabara sa ating mga imbornal o nagkukos ito ng baha. Kaya importante na study natin ng RA 903 is to set guidelines to protect that, not only setting education or tips to the community but to protect our environment or our city. So who made the Republic Act on 903 Ecological Waste Management Act of 2000? So the one who sign in made this act is our Senator Loren Regarda, or the principal author of the sponsor of the RA 903 and the chair of Senate of Committee Environmental and Natural Resources, said that the Ombudsman Solid Waste Management Law and Voluntary Compliance Assessment, and which promote the programs, will be the big boss in campaign to compel all local units. That means this act is to provide the local or the LGU to give meaning to this act to be followed by the community to prevent any disastrous kind of waste. And for the what is the purpose of this Ecological Solid Waste Management Act? For simply of this act is the Ecological Solid Waste Management Program of Department of Environment is the Natural Resources is the Environmental Management Bureau or the DNR-EMB aims to ensure the protection of the public health and the environmental through the systematic, comprehensive, and ecological waste management. So that is the purpose of the Solid Waste Management Act. And for the purpose, again, the Ecological Solid Management Act or management refers to the systematic administration of activities which provide for segregation of source, segregation of transportation, storage, transfer, processing, treatment, and disposal of solid waste and all other waste management activities which do not harm the environment. So sa atin all, so that means is that dapat natin na i-proper dispose yung mga basura natin at yung mga other na dapat naka-segregate talaga yung nabubulok at hindi nabubulok para mas recycle pa yung mayroon tayong non-recyclable waste. So what are prohibited under this act? Is prohibited acts is fines, penalties of the Republic Act of 1903. Solid Waste is Management Act. the construction or operation of landfills or any waste disposal facility on any aquifer, groundwater reservoir or watershed area or any portion thereof. So that means this act prohibit nga magkalat or mag-segregate ng basura sa mga stock or groundwater reservoir nato na pinanggigilingan ng ating mga dam or or mga river natin, na dapat hindi ito na matapunan ng basura kasi makakalason ito sa ating ng yamang dagat or sa yamang natin tubig. And for the four types of waste management is the most popular, I think, is types of waste management are the recycling, incineration or pagsunog, landfill, mga paglagayan ng yung pwedeng lagayan ng mga basura natin, and biological reprocessing or recycling na meron na and also animal feed. So that is the RA 9003 Act of 2000 or the Solid Waste Management. So for the Republic Act of 9275 Philippines, Clean Water Act of 2004. So what is this act? The act is the law aims to protect the country water bodies from the pollution from the land-based source industry and the commercial establishment, agriculture, and community-based household activities. So it means that it provides for comprehensive and integrated strategy to prevent and minimize pollution through a multiple sectorial participatory approach involving the stakeholders. So to continue the discussion is that the Philippine Clean Water Act of 2004 or the Public Act number 9275, an act providing for the comprehensive water quality management and for the other purposes. So what may apply for wastewater discharge from the permit under the RA 9275. So in the section 14 or discharge permit, the department shall require owners or operators of facilities that discharge regulated, efficient, or anything that pursuant to this act to secure a permit to discharge. So what are the three main goals of the Clean Water Act? So the Clean Water Act to prevent, reduce, and eliminate pollution in the national waters in order to restore and maintain the chemical, physical, biological integrity of the nation water as described in the Clean Water Act section. So this for the example of the changing of the rivers in the Pasig, in different kinds of rivers in Manila, and also the rehabilitation of Manila Bay. As you can see, there is a big changes na nangyari doon, and also for the Boracay na naging malinis ulit after 2 months of rehabilitation. So what are the prohibited acts under this RA 9275? What are the prohibited acts is the unauthorized transport or dumping into waters of sewage, sludge, or waste, or pagtapon ng mga basura sa ating mga river or ating mga dagat, kasi nagkakos ito ng dumi sa ating kapaligiran sa dagat, o at makaepekto ito sa mga living life na tumitira or nag-ihanabit sa ammonia na lugar or sa mga dagat or sa river, because this operate the facilities that discharge or allowed to seep willfully through the grave negligence of prohibited chemical substances or pollutants listed under the RA of the Republic Act. So for the summary of this act is the Clean Water Act is to establish the basic structure for regulating discharge of pollutants into the water acts of according to this kind of act. And the importance of this Philippine Clean Water Act is that it aims to protect the country water bodies. Yes, kasi laganap na yung mga pagtapon ng basura, kaya purpose nito ng batas is to provide something like same sa solid waste na mga guidelines na hindi na makakapekto o makakasira sa ating mga water body sa palibot ng Pilipinas from the pollution from the land-based source. And what are the civil liability penal provision under this act is that failure to undertake to clean up operation, or pagtapon mo, hindi mo din yung mga ng negligences na hindi kayo nagtatapon ng maayos doon, and willfully or through the gross negligence. Yun, sabi niya, shall be punished by the imprisonment not less than 2 years or not more than 4 years and fine not less than 50,000 pesos. So, ayun yung penal provision or liability mo kapag nilabag mo ang RA 9275 or Clean Water Act. Our next discussion about the environmental laws is the Republic Act 8749, Philippine Clean Air Act of 1999. So, what is this law? This law aims to achieve and maintain clean air that meets national air quality guidelines, values, per criteria, pollutants throughout the Philippines while minimizing the possible associated impacts of the economy. So, in this act, it said that the act provides for creation of national program for air pollution management focusing from the primarily on pollution prevention for the promotion of the mass and media communication in order to create social awareness and active participation, air quality planning and monitoring. To expand this kind of law is that to help is with the help of the media communication or something social media to create social awareness to the community that to make them aware about this law and the purpose of cleaning our air. So, what does the RA 8749 aim for? What does it aim? So, it aims for the known of the Philippine Clean Air Act is a comprehensive air quality management policy and a program which aim to achieve and maintain healthy air for all Filipinos. Muna, yung pag-create sa kanya is to purpose na dapat yung hininga natin is very clean air, is to produce or to make the air not more polluted or not more toxic. So, what are covered by this Philippine Clean Air Act? So, it covers all potential sources of air pollution, something like example of mobiles, point of area sources must comply with the provision of the law. All emission must be within the air quality standards. Mobile sources refer to vehicles like cars, trucks, buses, jeepney, bicycle, motorized, and vans, and other forms of mechanical na nagproduce ng or nag-release ng carbon dioxide sa ating hangin. So what is this law known for? So it gives yung not only na produce tayo or protektahan tayo nito ng law, it also protect our environment. So the Clean Air Act gives the Environmental Protection Agency the necessary tools to protect our families from number of harmful pollutants that can be cause asthma and lung diseases. Something na mga air na yung sakit kasi na minsan mayroon tayong sakit o virus na airborne na nakakalap yung sa paghinga natin at maramdaman ma-infected na lang tayo, especially in children. Weakening this kind of standards would allow more pollutants in the air we breathe and threatening our children's health. So, when was the Philippine Clean Air Act was enacted? It was enacted in June 23 of 1999. The passage of the Clean Air Act is provide for comprehensive air pollutants control policy. So, inaksa ng June 23, 1999. So, who should implement the Clean Air Water Act? I-implement ito for the mga, sabi nga natin doon, is mga motor vehicles. So, implementation dito sa Motor Vehicle Inspection System or Land Transportation Office or LTO and DOTC para ma-standardize at maprotektahan natin ang environmental at ang ating hangin sa paglanghap na meron ito mga contaminants or mga toxic na sumasama sa ating hangin na we-breathe. So what are the three major provisions of this act? So the 1997 amendment adjust the auto emission standard, extended the deadlines for the attainment of air quality standards, and added prevention of significant deterioration program to protect the air cleaner than national standards. So what are the numerous advantage to breathing clean air? So yung pag-breathe naman, ang purpose nito is the clear lungs, decrease asthma and allergic symptoms, improve skin appearance, help digestion, psychological and emotional stabilizer, better mood and normalize sleep patterns, and reduce chances of lungs, heart and arterial diseases. So that's are the purpose sang amuna nga sang yung batas na yon is produce healthy management of life. So what what you know about this act? So, nag-sign ng act nito is President Estrada on June 23 of 1999. It's a sign a strong new cleaner act into the law, an act of ban incinerator for waste disposal, making Philippines the first nation in the world to ban incinerator outright. So, there's also an act, that Republic Act 6969, or it means Toxic Substances Hazardous Act of Nuclear Waste Control Act of 1990. So, the law aims to regulate, restrict, or prohibit the importation of manufacture, processing, sale, distribution, use, and disposal of chemical substances, and make sure that present reasonable risk to human health. It likewise prohibit the entry, even the transit of hazardous and nuclear waste, that their disposal into the Philippines territorial limits for whatever the purpose, and to provide advancement and facilitate research and studies of the toxic chemicals. To continue our discussion is that the Republic Act of 6969 of the Philippines is also known as the Toxic Substances and Hazardous and Nuclear Waste Control Act of 1990. The act was carried out to control, supervise, and regulate activities on toxic chemicals on hazardous waste. So, what are the substances or hazardous nuclear waste control act of 1990? It is to control, supervise, and regulate activities on toxic chemical waste. So, what is the meaning of this act? It is an act of control. This law is to control toxic substance and hazardous that harmful to the human or the Filipino health, which thus has providing penalties or violation thereof or for other purposes. So, what are the provisions of this act? The act shall cover the importation, manufacture, processing, handling, storage, transportation, sale, distribution, use, or disposal. As I stated before, that mixtures in the Philippines, including the entry or even in the transit, as well as keeping a storage of disposal, hazardous, and nuclear. So, what are the prohibited acts under this 6969? Is that among the others of acts prohibiting the following is that the unauthorized transport or dumping into the waters or sewage, sludge, or solid waste. Something yun, parang sa Clear Water Act din na pagdadump mo ng basura. Nagko-connect talaga yung mga environmental law sa isa't isa Na pagtapon mo ng basura is like you violated also the Clean Water Act, but for the specific reason yung batas na magiging liable ka is the RA 6969 kasi yung pagtapon mo ng basura is not a simple garbage but as a toxic and hazardous waste, something very harmful not only to humans but also to the environment. So who passed this Republic Act 6969? It was passed by Luciminada C. Iligan and M.A. Dizos from Gabriela Women's Party and Carlos Isaginati Zerate Pam Bayan Muna, file House Bill of 5878, which amend the section and the Public Act of 69 or the Toxic Substance and Hazardous Waste of Act of 1990. So, how does Philippines regulate and control chemical safety and security? So, it's regulate from the rules and regulation for the management of chemicals in the Philippines or the Toxic Substance Hazardous and Nuclear Waste Control Act of 1990 by implementing rules, regulation, something guidelines na provide sa mga tao na bawal magtapon yan sa ating environment kasi isa itong napaka-hazardous or nakakamatay kapag ito yun na lang meron talagang mga tao na nagtatapon yan. So what are the four categorized hazardous waste? According to the EPA Regulation of Code of Federal Regulation, they define four hazardous waste characteristic properties of ignitability, corrosibility, reactivity, and toxicity. So, what is the function of under this RA 6969? Is policy of the state to regulate or restrict, prohibit the importation, the manufacture, processing, sale of distribution, use, or disposal of chemical substance and mixture that present unreasonable risks or injury to health, the environment, and prohibit entry, even the transit, nuclear. Is that the work of this DNR is to prohibit or restrict someone who are trying to import the toxic waste in our country because it will cause damage or harmful effect to our environment.